Hello, I'm冠宏from NCKU. Today, I'm going to talk about the introduction to our Constitution. The Constitution is a fundamental law of the nation, establishing the structure of the government, the distribution and checks and balances the power among the branches, and the basic rights and duties of citizens. The Constitution has a top priority in the structure of the hierarchy of law. In other words, if any regulation or administrative rules are against the Constitution, the Constitution could always override them. Next, constitutions around the world are mainly classified into two categories: statutory constitutions and non-statutory constitutions. A statutory constitution is documented in a formal text, such as in the United States. And in contrast, an unwritten constitution is formed gradually through the long-standing customs and judicial decisions, as exemplified by United Kingdom's constitution. Our nation's constitution is a statutory constitution, clearly defining the government structures and citizen rights and duties. Lastly, our constitution was effective since 1947, written and negotiated by the National Constituent Assembly in Nanjing, and gone through 7 times of amendments until now. The four fundamental principles of our Constitution are considered the core of its spirit, shaping the nation's government's direction and the foundation of policymaking. First, the principle of democratic state emphasizes that political power originates from the people, ensuring citizens' participation in the political process through elections and other means, thereby guaranteeing legitimacy of the government and the reflection of public opinions in policies. Second, the principle of republican state involves national sovereignty belong to all citizens, establishing that the head of the state is elected directly by the citizens. And through the design of power separation, it emphasizes the dispersion and balance of power. Third, the principle of constitutional state establishes the supremacy of law, ensuring legal security and fair treatment for citizens. Lastly, the principle of social state indicates that the state should take responsibility for promoting social welfare, economic equality, and social justice, intervene through legislation and policies to address the distribution of social resources. When discussing the principle of democratic state in our constitution, this principle core lies in the fact that political power originates from people, and emphasizes that the people should have the right to choose their government. According to the Article 2 of the Constitution, our country is a state whose sovereignty resides with all citizens. And how do we realize that? Through subsequent articles and provisions, it established that the citizens can exercise their sovereignty through mechanisms such as elections, recalls, initiatives, and referendums. Furthermore, democratic system can be divided into direct democracy and indirect democracy. Direct democracy allows citizens to directly participate in the decision-making processes on important policies, such as expressing their opinions through referendums, and indirect democracy, on the other hand, involves electing representatives such as legislators and councillors to make policy decisions and promote legislative amendments. This is the primary method currently used in our country. Moreover, political party politics is an indispensable part of the principles of a democratic state. It fosters the political competition and the expression of diverse opinions. Political parties are not only provided different political choices, but also serve as a crucial link between the government and citizens, ensuring that the voice of various groups are heard in the political process. In summary, the principle of a democratic state is at the heart of our Constitution. It guarantees that the legitimacy and participation of the political process, enabling citizens to engage in the governance of the country through multiple methods. Through the institutionalized party politics, it ensures the diversity and inclusive of all policies. The principle of republican states signifies that national sovereignty belongs to the people, and the head of state is elected by citizens rather than inheriting or being appointed. This principle contrasts sharply with the principle of monarchy, where sovereignty often resides with a single monarch or royal family, and the position of the head of the state is usually inherited through bloodline. Under our constitutional framework, the principle of a republican state is clearly embodied in the election system for the head of state, the president. According to our constitution, the president is elected directly by all citizens with voting rights, serving a 4-year term and eligible for re-election once. This method for election ensures the legitimacy of the national leader and the direct reflection of public opinion. It also promotes political accountability and transparency. Through this system, the principle of a republican state not only guarantees the democratic foundation of political power but also strengthens the citizens' ability to supervise and control the government. This principle is one of the cornerstones of building a modern democratic state. It compels the government to respond to the needs and expectations of the people and exercise power under public scrutiny. This concept is really important for the scope of our history. For the past 5,000 years, the head of government is always been the emperor, and our country is the first republic in our history, marking a significant shift from the monarchy of republicanism. This transition reflects the changing political landscape and the move towards a more democratic form of governance. Historically, the emperor held absolute power, and the government structure was largely autocratic. The transition into a republic brought about a system where the sovereignty resides with the people, and the leaders are elected by citizens. This shift is monumental as it signifies the people's empowerment and the establishment of a government that is accountable to its citizens. The principle of constitutional state signifies that the actions of the state and its all institutions must be based on strictly limited by law to ensure citizens' fundamental rights are not arbitrarily violated. The core of this principle is that all government actions should be executed according to a clear legal provisions rather than the arbitrary will of individuals or groups. Firstly, the exercise of state power must be bound by the Constitution and laws, ensuring the legitimacy and regularity of government's actions. Secondly, the principle of the supremacy of the Constitution dictates that all laws, policies, or administrative rules must not conflict with the Constitution, which is the highest norm of national legal system. Additionally, the principle of the separation of powers requires the legislative, executive, and judicial branches to be independent yet mutually checking each other to prevent the excessive concentration of power. The principle of legal reservation stipulates that restrictions on important fundamental rights must be established by law and cannot be arbitrarily deprived. The principle of administration by law requires that all administrative actions have legal basis, ensuring the transparency and reasonableness in administration. The principle of judicial due process ensures that the judicial process is fair and impartial, with judgments made according to law procedures. The principle of legal stability emphasizes that the continuity and predictability of the law, ensuring that citizens can exercise their right in a stable legal environment. The principle of legal clarity demands that all laws must be specific and clear so that the citizens can understand and comply with them. Finally, the principle of proportionality requires the government to consider necessity and reasonableness of restrictions on fundamental rights, ensuring a balance between measures and their objectives. Through the implementation of these principles, the principle of rule of law holds on an indispensable position in our Constitution, serving as a cornerstone for maintaining justice and democracy. The principle of social state signifies that the state should not only ensure the proper execution of laws but also actively intervene in the society to guarantee social security and social justice. This principle holds that the state has a responsibility to improve and address social and economic conditions through legislation and policies, ensuring that citizens enjoy equal life opportunities and social welfare. Firstly, the state must ensure that everyone's basic living needs are met, including education, health, housing, and employment opportunities, thereby achieving social security goals. This involves not only elevating poverty and unemployment, but also providing special protection to vulnerable groups. Additionally, the principle of social state emphasizes that the realization of social justice, meaning that the state should eliminate social inequalities and promote their fair distribution of resources. Within this framework, tax policies, social insurance, and the design of public service should reflect the pursuit of equality and justice. Interestingly, the principle of social state isn't derived from a specific code in the Constitution. Instead, it can be concluded from certain articles, such as Article 1, additional Article 10, and the overall concept of Constitution. These articles demonstrate the concept of social security and social justice, and display the image of how the society should be from the view of our Constitution. In our Constitution, the four fundamental principles, the principle of democratic state, the principle of republican state, the principle of a constitutional state, and the principle of social state constitute the cornerstone of our national government, ensuring the legitimacy and efficiency of government operations. Firstly, the principle of democratic states emphasizes that the political power originates from the people. It ensures the direct expression of public opinion through elections and referendums, safeguarding citizens' basic right to participate in politics. Secondly, the principle of republican state ensures that the national sovereignty belongs to the people, with the country's leader elected by the citizens. This reflects the democratic foundation of public authority. Next, the principle of constitutional states requires that all government actions must be conducted according to law, emphasizing the supremacy of law and the separation of powers. This ensures the legitimacy of government actions and the stability of legal system. It includes various aspects such as administration by law, judicial due process, and legal clarity. Lastly, the principles of a social state indicates that the state should not only ensure proper execution of laws, but also actively intervene in the society to guarantee citizens' basic social welfare such as education, health, and employment. This aims to achieve social security and social justice. These principles collectively maintain a structured and just society where the government operates efficiently and remains accountable to its citizens. Thank you. Hope this video helped you understand fundamental concepts of our Constitution, and we should have an excellent learning journey. Goodbye.